Shalom and welcome back everybody to the second day of the teachings on the 37 practices of a Bodhisattva with Venerable Geshe Dorje Damdul. I'm David with the Dharma Friends of Israel, and Ben is also co-hosting with me. Before Geshe joins us in a couple of minutes, I would just like to shortly remind everybody to please keep your mic muted at all times unless you are being addressed by Geshe. All of these teachings are being streamed live on Dharma Friends of Israel YouTube channel as well, and are available for review at the course's designated playlist. As we did yesterday, we'll have two classes today with a break of 1 hour in between, so the teaching will end at about 2:30 p.m. Israel time or 5 p.m. India time. And since Geshe likes to have interactive sessions, please leave your camera on. And personally, I think it creates more of a real class atmosphere and a sense of togetherness. So I really invite everybody to be present with your camera on and your mic off. I'd like to mention again that Dharma Friends of Israel is a non-profit organization that runs all its activities by volunteers. All our activities are offered freely and supported by participants' donations only. So we encourage you to practice generosity and to take part in making it possible for us to continue our activities that are totally dependent on your support. As always, whatever is left after covering the expenses of this event will be offered to our teacher as a token of our deep appreciation and gratefulness. So please see the details on how to donate in the chat box. Ben will post a link. So thank you. We really appreciate your donations. And Geshe will join us shortly. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, David La, and also thank you, Ben La, and the Shahala, and the Deorala, Gilala, and all the participants here. This is the third session, and so what we do is that first we will, of course, setting proper motivation, then followed by the David La reciting the prayers. While David La leads the prayers, we all will take part in this, and then followed by breathing meditation or shamatha meditation, and followed by the teaching. So this is what we're going to do, and as a part of setting the proper motivation, let us visualize Buddha Shakyamuni, His Holiness the Dalai Lama, surrounded by all the Buddhist Bodhisattvas in the space in front of us. And particularly the manner in which you visualize them, that they are so loving, caring, and embracing. And you could literally feel like as a small child in front of your parents. How relaxing you feel, how comfortable you feel, how secure you feel. And if this is what you can do, your refuge will be strengthened. And the refuge plays a very important role to be connected with the triple gem in the future lifetimes as well. And then continually receive blessings in the form of the wisdom of emptiness and bodhicitta, 6 perfections. Likewise, visualize your two parents and all your family members, including children, and all demons and shimmies with you, where they are like your children, and children, extremely vulnerable children, and you are like the mother. And you showering all your love and affection and embrace to each and every sentient being with so much love and affection. And the purpose of this, the today teaching, is to awaken the seed of perfection that exists within each one of us, referred to as the Buddha nature. And how to awaken this is by eradicating mental defilements. And to remove the mental defilements, we need to resort to a very powerful remedy, which is the wisdom of emptiness, which would help us to wake up from the sleep of ignorance. And meanwhile, the desire, aspiration to wake up, it must be very strong. Otherwise, it is like we continuously being sucked up in the sleep. Though we want to get out of this, but we are constantly being sucked up in this sleep. You can hardly open your eyes. So, very strong motivation is required. The greatest of the motivation, which is bodhicitta. And to what extent is bodhicitta is determined by the compassion, the practice of compassion, which in turn depends on the degree of the renunciation. So, with this in the mind, let us invoke, be it superficially, it doesn't matter. Let us invoke the Bodhicitta spirit. May I become Buddha for the benefit of all Dharma sentient beings. Okay, with this in mind, I request David to recite lead the prayer, and everybody will join us.
Thank you, Geshe. Enthused by great compassion, you taught the Immaculate Dharma
To dispel all perverted views.
To you, the Buddha Gautama, I pay homage. Enthused by great compassion, you taught the Immaculate Dharma to dispel all perverted views. To you, the Buddha Gautama, I pay homage. Enthused by great compassion, you taught the Immaculate Dharma to dispel all perverted views. To you, the Buddha Gautama, I pay homage. Taking refuge and generating bodhicitta, first in Tibetan and then in English. Sangye chodang tsoki chonam la jangchu bardu dagni kyapsu chi dagi jinso gipe sonam gi drolai pencher sangye dropare show. Sangye chodang tsoki chonam la jangchu bardu dagni kyapsu chi dagi jinso gipe sonam gi drolai pencher sangye dropare show. Sangye chodam tsoki chonam la jangchu bardu dagni kyapsu chi dagi jinso gipe sonam gi drolai pencher sangye dropare show. I go for refuge until I am enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. By my accumulations of the practice of giving and so forth, may I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. I go for refuge until I am enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. By my accumulations of the practice of giving and so forth, may I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. I go for refuge until I am enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. By my accumulations of the practice of giving and so forth, may I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. Independent origination, there is no ceasing, no arising, no annihilation, no permanence, no coming, no going, no separateness, no sameness. I prostrate to the consummate Buddha, the supreme among all teachers, the one who taught this peace which is freed from elaborations. I prostrate to the mothers of heroes, the Bodhisattvas and the Buddhas, which through the knowledge of all lead heroes seeking pacification to complete peace, which through the knowledge of path causes those helping migrators to achieve the aims of the world, and through the possession of which helps subduers expound a variety of teachings. The one who has transformed into a reliable guide, motivated by altruism to benefit sentient beings, the teacher, Sugata, and protector, to you I make prostrations. The one who has eliminated the web of conceptualizations and is endowed with the divine bodies of the vast and the profound, who eternally shines forth the forever noble light rays, to you, the Buddha, I make prostrations. Inspired by wisdom and compassion, today in the Buddha's presence I generate the mind of full awakening for the benefit of all sentient beings. We'll recite the essence of dependent origination mantra with the voice of Geshe and students at Tibet House.
Om ye dharma hetu prabhava hetum Tesham chayo nirodha evam vati mahashamanaye swaha. Om ye dharma hetu prabhava hetum tesham tathagato yavatat tesham chayo nirodha evam vati mahashramanaye swaha. Om ye dharma hetu prabhava hetum tesham tathagato yavatat tesham chayo nirodha evam vati mahashramanaye swaha.
The meaning of the mantra: all phenomena arise from causes. The causes are taught by the Tathagata. The cessation of the causes as well is taught by the Great Seer. Profound, peaceful, elaboration-free, clear light and non-composite, such is the nectar-like Dharma I have discovered. Finding no one to fathom this teaching, in silence I will retire into the woods. Beyond utterance, thought and expression is the perfection of wisdom, which is unborn, unceased, and has the nature of space. It is the object of apprehension of self-realized wisdom. To you, the mother of the Buddhas of the 3 times, I pay obeisance. The 4 seals of Buddha's teachings. All composite things are impermanent. All contaminated things are of the nature of suffering. All phenomena are of the nature of emptiness and selflessness. Transcending sorrow is peace. The Guru is the Buddha, the Guru is the Dharma, likewise the Guru is the Sangha. The Guru is the source of everything wholesome. I go for refuge in the Guru. By the sound of the vibrant drum of Dharma, you liberate all beings of miseries. I beseech you to kindly remain and give teachings until the end of the expanse of billions of eons. The Buddha does not wash the negativities of beings, nor does he remove their miseries by his hands. His spiritual realizations are not transferred to them. It is by teaching the truth of suchness that beings are liberated. With folded hands I beseech the Buddhas of all directions to shine the light of Dharma for all bewildered in misery's gloom. Instructions on parting from the 4 attachments. If you are attached to this life, you are not a spiritual practitioner. If you are attached to samsara, you have no renunciation. If you are attached to your own self-interest, you have no bodhicitta. If there is grasping, you do not have the view. And we'll also recite the Heart Sutra mantra 3 times. Teata Om Gate Gate Aragate Arasamgate Bodhisattvata Om Gate Gate Aragate Parasamgate Bodhisattvata Om Gate Gate Paragate Parasamgate Bodhisattvata. Thank you, everybody.
David Love, would you mind showing the 3 verses for taking the aspiration Bodhisattva vow?
Yes, sure.
Yes. Thank you. Okay, we'll recite these 3 verses followed by the 2 more verses. And this is a part of taking the aspiration Bodhisattva vow. And taking the aspiration Bodhisattva vow it's not necessary that somebody should be a Buddhist. The commitment, there's no commitment at all. And for the actual Bodhisattva vow, there are commitments. So to take the actual Bodhisattva vow, one really needs to take it seriously, that you have at least some experience of the, say, the what we can call as a transcendental compassion, which means compassion which is different from what naturally comes to us, which is more expansive through practice. In other words, our practice should precede that experience of the compassion, which is very different from how otherwise naturally arise in us, and then you entitled to take the full-fledged Bodhisattva vow. Whereas for the aspiration Bodhisattva vow, as long as you come to yourself that I'll try to help others to the best I can. If not, at least I'll not harm others. This much. If you can commit yourself, you're entitled to take this aspiration Bodhisattva vow. It's not necessary that you should be a Buddhist. Okay, so with this mind, wholeheartedly, let us invoke the blessings of all the Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, Bodhisattvanis, Holiness, Dalai Lama, and all the beings are with you, and you are leading this practice, and you are inspiring everybody to join you, and everybody that they actually join you in this practice of take the aspiration Bodhisattva vow. So with this mind, even though it can be very superficial, it doesn't matter. This is how we engage in the practice, the meaning of the practice. So when you learn the music, learn to play the keyboard, first you mimic your teachers, still there's no music coming out. It's just a noise. Then over constant practice, then the earlier what otherwise they used to come out as a noise eventually will become music, beautiful music. So this is the meaning of the practice. Initially, what we are going to recite may not really resonate with your natural thinking. Your natural thinking will be driven by selfishness, and the indication is that we just see that if your mind flows with these words, you see that there's something frictional, the factor involved. So this is an indication that we require more practice. So this is part of practice. Ready? I go for refuge to the triple gem. I confess the negativities individually. I rejoice in the virtues of all the beings. I hold the precious Buddhahood in my heart. I go for refuge until I'm enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Supreme Sangha. I generate the mind of bodhicitta to resolutely accomplish the aims of others myself. Having generated the mind of supreme enlightenment, I invite all sentient beings to be my guests and shall engage in the delightful and excellent practices of full enlightenment. May I become Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. I go for refuge to the triple gem. I confess the negativities individually. I rejoice in the virtues of all the beings. I hold the precious Buddha in my heart. I go for refuge until I'm enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Supreme Sangha. I generate the mind of bodhicitta to resolutely accomplish the aims of others myself. Having generated the mind of supreme enlightenment, I invite all sentient beings to be my guests and shall engage in the delightful and excellent practices of full enlightenment. May I become Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. I go for refuge to the triple gem. I confess the negativities individually. I rejoice in the virtues of all the beings. I hold the precious Buddha in my heart. I go for refuge until I'm enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Supreme Sangha. I generate the mind of bodhicitta to resolutely accomplish the aims of others myself. Having generated the mind of supreme enlightenment, I invite all sentient beings to be my guests and shall engage in the delightful and excellent practice of full enlightenment. May I become Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. Gurus, Buddhas, and Bodhisattvas, please be here to me. Just as the previous Buddhas have generated the mind of bodhicitta, and just as they successfully dwelt in the Bodhisattva practices, likewise for the benefit of all sentient beings, I will generate the mind of bodhicitta, and likewise shall I too successfully train the Bodhisattva practices. Gurus, Buddhas, and Bodhisattvas, please be here to me. Just as the previous Buddhas have generated the mind of bodhicitta, and just as they successfully dwell in the Bodhisattva practices, likewise for the benefit of all sentient beings, I will generate the mind of bodhicitta, and likewise shall I too successfully train the Bodhisattva practices. Gurus, Buddhas, and Bodhisattvas, please be here to me. Just as the previous Buddhas have generated the mind of bodhicitta, and just as they successfully dwell in the Bodhisattva practices, likewise for the benefit of all sentient beings, I will generate the mind of bodhicitta, and likewise shall I too successfully train the Bodhisattva practices. Okay, David, last question sharing. Okay, we were done with verse number 12. And yeah, I'm very glad to know that so yesterday we had the class, and I get feedback from some of my friends saying that this text and the greatly helps what we read thus far, the first 12 verses. We see that they are really very beneficial. Yes, indeed. So, a great inspiration. This text is so greatly the inspiration for me also, and for all of us. So, which is so precious. And so we continue. And now, verse number 13. So what we said yesterday was that finally our job. So the Dharma practice, on the one hand, we said is a vast subject. It's a vast subject at times. Particularly if we study some of the texts, you may feel so demoralized, so vast that how can I really get a grip of what the Dharma practice is like? So vast, so profound. I can't even say get to the surface level of Buddhism, and then I can't really get even a small portion. Forget about the vast array of the explanations given in the Dharma. But don't take it to that extent of to make yourself demoralized. Just think of in the following. First, what do you want? Forget about the Dharma practice, everything. Just what do you want? This is the main thing that you need to remember, that I want to get away from miseries and I want to have the maximum happiness. And some of you may be saying that, okay, he's always talking about, I want to get away from miseries, I want to have the maximum happiness. He never talks about compassion. But we should be very realistic. We start from there, and then as your practice becomes more evolved, then you say that the maximum benefit of yourself and maximum benefit of others, these two are synonymous. So, and the fact is that we have to be very realistic. We should be very realistic, and we should be very practical. And then because when we talk about compassion, start from the compassion. We're being very unrealistic in ways that I've encountered with many people. That who talk about the compassion. Oh, for example, say that they see His Holiness the Dalai Lama, and then he's wow, he's so amazing. And then the Tibetans are following His Holiness. They're a very special person. They're so nice, so good. I said that don't go to such a rash conclusion. Tibetans are as ordinary as any other people. His Holiness, no doubt, is a very unique leader. In the world, you will not find one like him. In the world, you will not find such a leader like His Holiness, who only thinks of bringing harmony to the entire world. You won't find such a leader. So this is a reality. This is something so unique. And simply because His Holiness is so unique doesn't mean that all Tibetans must be so special. So that there's no, I've seen this Tibetan, that Tibetan very special. Then I said that, okay, don't go to rash conclusion. And later on, don't come to complain. Then later on, they said, no, this person so nasty, this Tibetan so nasty, that person so nasty. I said, this is Tibetan. Now you've understood what a Tibetan is. You've understood that the Tibetans are not a special person. It's just the same as anybody else. Nothing special. Only if somebody practices bodhicitta, only if somebody practices wisdom of emptiness, then you can become a special person. Simply being born as a Tibetan doesn't mean that person will practice bodhicitta, wisdom of emptiness. His Holiness is very special because His Holiness has reached the summit of the practice of bodhicitta and wisdom of emptiness. So that makes him very special. Not because that a Tibetan, they are very special. No, this is too naive. So therefore, the point is that what we seek, I seek fearlessness and infinite happiness. Then the infinite happiness, when you go deeper, the reality is that we are born We are born with this majority, except for some the enlightened beings like His Holiness the Dalai Lama or the author of this text, the Bodhisattva Thomas example. So they have already practiced these from the past many lifetimes. But majority of us, we are born with the selfishness there. And then with this still is not that the true nature of mind is so impure. No, the true nature of mind of everyone is so pure, but that needs to be awakened. We need to work on this to awaken it, to make it clean. So with this, we see that the two goals, and to attain the two goals, make it very simple. Say the fear is driven by the ignorance, self-grasping ignorance. Get rid of self-grasping ignorance and your fears will stop. Your tears will stop. Your pains will stop. So how to get rid of the self-grasping ignorance? By the wisdom. By the wisdom. Wisdom to help us to wake up from the sleep of ignorance. So this is one part. Then we seek the maximum happiness or maximum ease. That maximum ease is nothing but a manifestation of your mind expanding. For example, like you are imprisoned in a small cell. Then you feel so suffocated 24 hours for months, years. Months and years, you are in the same small cell all the time. You feel so suffocated. The moment that it is time for you to, that time that you're free, you go out, you feel the expansiveness. This is the meaning of freedom. We don't have that experience of that freedom. So those people who actually have the experience of being in a prison, in a very small space, suddenly you end up in a vast place, very expansive, beautiful place. Then you feel the expansiveness. So for that, what makes your mind is not the place, is your mind is expanding. And your mind expands. In space is fine, but with the beings, people, what makes your mind expand to the people? Your compassion. And depending on what level of compassion towards your family members, compassion towards your, just see to what extent. The wise people will expand it as much as possible because they want the maximum happiness. So the secret of the maximum happiness is the universal compassion. So my job, what is dharma for me, is what helps me to activate my cognitive awakening of seeing things as the empty of true existence, and the effective awakening of embracing, letting my mind to expand infinitely with compassion with all the beings. So that is my dharma, as simple as that. As simple as that. Now, once you know this, then the details, you have something to hold on to. Okay, now I know what is dharma is. So even though all these hundreds of books they are stacked, which are very sophisticated concepts, I'm so demoralized. Don't worry, I have something to hold on to. I should practice compassion and I should practice the wisdom of emptiness. Then meanwhile, we don't just stay there and keep growing. You have something to hold on to. Once you have something to hold on to, then when you swim, and then if you're getting lost somewhere, again you feel demoralized, again go back to the main thing that is in your mind. Okay, what I seek is the fearless and infinite happiness. And then how these two can be achieved is by the wisdom to wake me up from the sleep of ignorance, and the universal compassion to make my mind expand with ease. So these two. So you go to and fro, and then keep expanding. You see that as your Buddha nature is being unveiled more and more, then you don't fear the vastness and the depth of the Dharma. The vastness of the depth of the Dharma will make you even happier because you see the nuances. The more you unfold the nuances, the more the joy that you get, the more the sense of fulfillment comes to us. Okay, with this in mind, we are reading verse number 13, and yes, what we said is that finally two things: compassion, the wisest form of compassion is the bodhicitta, and the wisdom, the most profound wisdom of emptiness. These two things, how to cultivate them Okay, for this we need to work on two things. One, to eradicate the discordant factors, to remove the discordant factors and encourage or generate or create the conducive factors. This is our work. Two things. For example, compassion. Practice the two methods of bodhicitta. Meanwhile, remove the discordant factors like what? What hampers the practice of compassion? Anger. Anger pushes others away from you. And compassion embraces others closer towards you. So while practicing compassion, we need to work on removing the discordant factors like anger, ego, anger. So here, the Bodhisattva, the Geshe Sambo, he identifies the factors which can potentially give rise to the discordant factors like ego, anger, and so forth. And even this ego, anger, at the core lies the selfishness, self-centered attitude. So in short, in fact, we all should be feeling extremely grateful that we met with His Holiness the Dalai Lama. All his teachings that had emphasis on, say, we need to work to get rid of the self-grasping ignorance and self-centered attitude. And we need to self-grasping ignorance, eradicate this by wisdom of emptiness, eradicate selfishness by the adhicharya mind, bodhicitta. So it becomes so simple. And of course, so at least we have something to hold on to, that this is the core of my the life, the purpose of my life. Then what we do, we go deeper into this to identify what are the discordant factors and what are the conducive factors. So this is how we need to work on. Verse number 13. If someone cuts off your head, even when you have not done the slightest wrong, yes, it does happen. Oftentimes, it does happen. Say all of us, we have our stories to share. Everyone in the world, you meet with the politicians, you meet with the business CEOs, you meet with the celebrities, movie stars, or you meet with the Nobel laureates. Particularly higher somebody climbs in the staircase of the life, the more the challenges they have been through. Say, with ordinary, what we call as commoners. With the commoners, may think that okay, so some people who are born in the royal families, oh, they have everything. No, they have their own problem. They have their own problem. In fact, they may look so exotic, appearance-wise, so exotic. Oh, they have servants, and they have the limousine car, whatnot. But if you actually meet with them, the first few minutes is nice. And meet with them, say the few minutes, half an hour, 1 hour, then we start to hear all the pains of the others. Everybody has this problem. So I shared this yesterday, I think, if I'm not confused with other class, that somebody was expressing his or her grievance to me about the life. Then I was giving some of my thoughts, okay, how to tackle this, that, and then came to the problem in general, family problems and so forth. Like I said, that this is where everybody, if you really want to get away from this, practice bodhicitta, practice wisdom and emptiness. Only then you'll be protected. Otherwise, nobody can protect you from these problems, the basic human problems. Nobody can protect you. Where if you're not somebody, there's somebody to crush you. Always there. So what is that somebody? And you think that you excel in something. No, there's somebody who excels even more. So that somebody is somebody who practices bodhicitta and wisdom of emptiness. Nobody can crush you. That is when you crush all the problems. Problems are no way problems for you then at that point. Till that point, Everybody, you are the biggest of the politicians, you are the biggest of the CEOs, you are the biggest of the celebrities, whoever you are. And these problems will continually crush you. This is reality. So with this in mind, so what is taught here is that the problems that you are bound to face within your life, everyone is going through this problem. If someone cuts off your head, even when you have not done the slightest wrong, through the power of compassion. So usually, there is what is known as what is that? Tooth for tooth, eye for eye, and this is extremely unacceptable statement. This is so unwise statement. This statement can destroy the whole world. Tooth for tooth, eye for eye. Say two groups or two people, two neighbors. Say neighbor A is weaker. Neighbor B takes over say bully the neighbor B. Then the neighbor B becomes stronger. Neighbor A becomes weaker. B then just retaliates. So keep on harming each other. Keep on. So when will this stop? This is a problem of this problem of the philosophy of tooth for tooth and eye for eye. This is the problem. Instead, say, and of course, this is another point is that Charles Darwin, what is his take? What is his take on this? For Charles Darwin, the basic emotions, the purpose for the species is to survive. To survive the species. That is the purpose of your species. No enlightenment, nothing. This is not your nothing. For Charles Darwin, these concepts are non-existent. Survival of the species, that's the whole purpose. For the survival of the species, what you want is that the survival of the fittest. You should be fit. What do you mean by fit? Fit means that somebody comes to destroy you, you should attack them. Somebody who's more powerful come to destroy you, run away. Fear required. And then you require the basic necessities for survival. You require attachment to gather these factors. And so anger required to push the non-conducive factors, and fear required to run away from the bigger threats. So this is the principle of the survival of the fittest. This is Charles Darwin's take. But the Buddha said something very different. If this is how we survive, we have to continuously live in fear. And why should we have to live in fear? And not only you, your next generation, next generation, continuously there's going to be fear. You guarantee that everybody has to live in fear. But this is not the solution. The real solution is that win-win, not temporary win and temporary loss, win-win. So temporary win is actually a loss on both sides. So whereas the Buddha approached something very different. So finally, say it's not about external happiness, external miseries. Final experience of miseries and happiness is all about internal. While the internal is to be taken care of or to be unveiled, we need to take care of the external. Once the internal is taken care of fully, external will not matter at all. So this is what we need to remember. So with this in mind, is that if someone cuts off your head, even when you have not done the slightest wrong, through the power of compassion, to take the misdeeds upon yourself, is the practice of Bodhisattva. And then, of course, many people will disagree with this. That why should we surrender to somebody who's being so nasty and who's being so ruthless against us? Okay. So for this, what I would say is that finally, yes, of course, you have many questions, and I'll be very happy to entertain some questions towards the end of this the class. So the point is that with respect to the method of generating bodhicitta on the basis of equalizing and exchanging oneself with others to generate bodhicitta, how to exchange this? as a Bodhisattva, I guess Thomas already mentioned in the early yesterday's class that the how to exchange the self and others. So how to cherish others instead of cherishing yourself, and how to be oblivious to oneself instead of being oblivious to others. How? And many people may say that no, this is what you have to do. You have to embrace others. You have to be oblivious to yourself. This is not the Buddha's approach. Buddha's approach is engage in these practices, with wisdom, not by force, by wisdom. So yesterday we discussed about these 5 mental factors: contact, attention, discrimination, feeling, and intention. So these 5 mental factors. But these 5 mental factors, finally, to embrace everybody is on the intention level. The intention to embrace everybody, not to reject others. But that person so nasty towards me, so cruel, ruthless to me. So how can I embrace? Okay, ruthless to you. What do you mean by ruthless? That this person is harming me. So which means that you are harmed. You are harmed. Yes, you felt the harm. So actually, nobody can harm you. You have the seed of perfection within you. But you are harmed. Why you are harmed? Because that there's something there within you which is against your Buddha nature, which pulls, which attracts the harm. What is that? Selfishness. If the selfishness is removed, nobody can harm you. Nobody can harm you. It is like small children, they can harm each other, they can fight, they can be, but the elders, having the greater wisdom, greater knowledge, experience, the small children, they cannot harm the elders because they have the greater wisdom. So that for those beings who have the wisdom to eradicate this selfishness, they cannot be harmed by anybody. Your peace of mind is guaranteed. So with this in mind, all these teachings, they're helping us to identify why we have to exchange the self for others, why we have to cherish others, and why to be oblivious to the self. It's not that, okay, now from today on, I'll not take care of myself. Take care of yourself. Take care of yourself. Take care of your family. Take care of your nation. Take care of the world. Take care of all the sentient beings. Take care. But what do you mean take care? The best way by which to take care of yourself and everyone is by getting rid of the selfishness, self-centered attitude. Because that is the one which attracts the harms. This makes you to define somebody as a perpetrator or the culprit or the nasty person. So the point is that if you identify that finally I attract the harm because of my selfishness, then you see that the final selfishness with me, and for this you can also experiment it. You practice it, and at times just let go of your selfishness and help others. You can go a little out of your way to help others, and then see what is that sense of. In fact, these are things that you can actually experience where you go to help somebody else, otherwise you would not do. By listening to these teachings, by reading these amazingly great legacies of Geshe Thome Sampo, and you try to practice to help somebody else. And then after that, just observe your mind, particularly on the level of the feeling. Number 4 of the 5 omnipresent mental factors. Number 4, just observe your feeling. What is that like? The feeling is so beautiful, amazingly beautiful. In fact, if you practice like this, Bodhisattva, the great Indian master, Acharya Chandrakirti, in his text, what he said is that he compared the Arhat, meaning somebody who's attained personal liberation, versus a Bodhisattva. And who is the desirous of becoming Buddha for the benefit of all sentient beings. And the Arhat was meditating in the direct realization of the wisdom of emptiness. Meditated on this and then attained nirvana, liberation from samsara. And the bliss of the liberation is being experienced. Versus a bodhisattva who is just sitting idly in the room and they hear a cry from outside, asking for some food. A beggar with a cry, asking for food. Please give me something to eat. I'm hungry. The bodhisattva, hearing this cry of somebody, the joy that he gets, that now I get the opportunity to help somebody. That joy, Acharya Chandrakriti compares to two joys. The joy the bodhisattva gets simply by hearing the cry of somebody asking for food, versus the arhat just abiding in this meditative, profound experience of the emptiness, meditation, to actually experience the bliss of the freedom from samsara. Comparing the two, Acharya Chandrakriti said that the bliss or the joy the bodhisattva gets is far, far what excels the bliss of the nirvana the arhat is experiencing. So try this in your real life. Just see, you may not take a drastic step. You can take some step, like step 1, step 2, and then see what's it like. Not from 0 to 100, 0 to 5, 0 to 6, 7. Take a small step to help others, and then what is the feeling like? From there, you can conjecture that if I can really take to like 60%, 70%, 80% move, then the feeling of the joy and the feeling of the calmness that I get can be simply multiplied, which means that in the process of doing that, you are actually combating the discordant factor, which is a self-centered attitude. As you remove that, then the true nature of your mind becomes manifest. What's the true nature of mind? Fearlessness and infinite happiness. So whereas we get the feeling that, oh, this person harming me, we should, fight with this person. I must teach a lesson to this person. So these thoughts come to us. Who is making us to speak like this or think like this? Our self-centered attitude. In the process, it is creating more pain and stress in us. So, and then of course, we study these things. We don't have to jump to the conclusion that, oh, what the Bodhisattva, the Geshe Thomas said must be true. No, they're wrong. No. Learn these things. Don't be quick to accept. Don't be quick to reject. Learn these things, experiment it, and when the moment you feel that it's very true, then you practice it more. You don't have to preach others. Practice it more, and then people can really feel that. You can feel that from you, that okay, this person is actually saying something, and actually they say, I could feel that from that person. So you can be the best example for others. That finally, see, in fact, I'd like to share this anecdote with you. This is very important. So these things, sometimes we have to hear the real stories. Sometimes we have to see the real stories. Sometimes we have to experience the real stories so that it becomes real and alive. These teachings will become so alive. They say, in my office, so people come to meet me with appointment, and one day, one lady came, Indian lady, very educated Indian lady came, and then she introduced herself. Okay, of course, we got the information that she is a principal of a college or a school, a principal of this education institute. Usually, whoever comes, and I would know that they say the connection, what brought the person to Tibet House. And this lady, I was not getting any clue how this lady came to know about Tibet House. And finally, I became desperate. I asked, but by the way, before we go further, tell me, how did you come to know about Tibet House? It's a very interesting response. We have to listen to this. So, seeing is believing. I was so fascinated to hear this. Very inspiring. How did she come to know about Tibet House? Very interesting. So what she said is that the she is highly respected person herself, very respected person as a principal of a college or a school. I think it's a college, principal of college, and very educated, respected, well respected by everyone there in the college. But she said that I'm deep inside, I'm extremely unhappy person. There's always a vacuum in my mind. Vacuum in my mind. Yet every day I could see one lady passing by on her colony meaning where her residence passing by. There was one lady passing by, and all these 7 years she has been observing this lady passing by, and never did she see this lady as anxious or disturbed, so calm. She was always lost in admiration. Wow, that's amazing. How come that this lady is able to contain or able to maintain this composure, the calmness, tranquility, all these 7 years? So one day, and then I'm supposed to be an educated person. I'm supposed to be somebody who's been respected by others. Look up on me as a role model. But deep inside me, I know that I'm not a happy person. There's a vacuum in me. And today I must go to meet this lady and ask her the secret of her calmness. And then the lady again passed by, and she went there rushed and stopped her. May I ask you a question? Yes. All these 7 years I've been observing you from distance, and you never displayed a sense of anger, agitation, stress. You're always calm, peaceful, tranquil. Tell me, what's the secret of the calmness and the composure? And the lady said that, no, I'm nothing special. I go to Tibet House. Right? So then she said, what is Tibet House? Then she started going to Google search, and she ended up in Tibet House. Okay, what I'm saying is that, so whatever Tibet House is, this is a different story. But somebody demonstrated that quality which one has learned and applied it, and you feel the benefit, and then people see you as a role model without speaking. That is very important. So with this in mind, okay, David, last screen sharing. Okay, so finally the point is that finally that what we seek is fearlessness. Why fearlessness is not happening within us? Because of self-grasping ignorance. What I seek infinite happiness. Why that's not happening? I have the potential to experience the infinite happiness, but what I'm not experiencing, because something's blocking me from experiencing that. What blocks me? Self-centered attitude. So if you can, this is what we can boil down to, that these are the two demons within me. These are the two terrorists. These are the two demons within me. Self-grasping, ignorance, self-centered attitude within me. If I'm able to exterminate these two, then the two goals are already there within me, will be unveiled. Not that I get from outside. What is inside gets unveiled. Okay. 14. Should someone slander you? Yes, now these are the factors which can say the trigger anger within us, or trigger ego within us, which can hurt our ego. Should someone slander you by uttering divisive words, and proclaim it in the billion worlds in return? So what happens? Then your ego will be hurt. It becomes so angry, upset. In return, with a loving heart, to proclaim their good qualities is the practice of a bodhisattva. So in return, with a loving heart, meaning that, say, somebody uses harsh words, slanderous words, and then just proclaim it to everybody to offend you. So what actually happens is that if you're offended, yes, we're going to be offended. We're going to be offended. Why? Because our ego is hurt. because our self-centered attitude is they're hurt. So another point is that this self-centered attitude is the one which actually makes us feel hurt. Otherwise, say a small child, everybody is like a small child. Only those people who practice bodhicitta and the wisdom emptiness, they are really elders. They are the seniors. They are the adults. They are the mature people. Otherwise, everybody is like small children. So, for example, how will you behave if a small child comes to you, say a child like 3 years old boy or 3 years old girl, and you meet that little boy, little girl in the street, and that girl or boy says that you a stupid lady, a stupid man, right? Will you be angry? No, it's so cute. This is a small child who can hardly walk. And saying that you're a stupid person is so cute, because that you can see that this small child who does not know anything, and you are very mature. So you see it's a small children's game, or small children's the utterance. So likewise, all people like small children. Only when somebody practices bodhicitta, and experience something, that is an adult, mature person. Till that point, everybody, your age doesn't matter. The status doesn't matter. Celebrity, politician, CEO, it doesn't matter. We're all small children, because we all suffer. So only those people who practice bodhicitta, these are the mature people. So for them, other people, using slanderous words against you. For these mature people, these are like, small kids. It's so cute. So therefore, for them, it will not affect them. Instead, they will feel compassionate. So finally, in what way compassionate? Because that this person uttering these things, I'm able to identify my disease inside me. Which disease? Self-centered attitude. That self-centered attitude manifests in the form of anger, irritation. So these are the symptoms of the self-centered attitude. Identifying the disease, remove this disease, then you are freed. Finally, it's not that there's always somebody to say nasty things towards you. For example, the Buddha, somebody who's fully enlightened. Still, there are thousands of people who are following different religions, who are fanatics. They will say bad things against the Buddha. So don't expect that you reach a level whereby everybody will stop saying bad things about you. It'll never happen, right? But why do you want everybody to stop saying bad things against you? So that I will not be offended. For that, you don't have to wait till somebody stops. Remove the self-centered attitude and you will not feel offended at all. Your peace of mind is guaranteed at all times. So your fearlessness is guaranteed. Your peace of 100% expansive peace of mind is guaranteed. So wise people will see things in a very practical sense. Unwise people, like small children, they will only look for external factors to get rid of external factors. Wise people will think of getting rid of internal factors. So one way by which to demarcate between the wise, evolved beings versus unwise and small childlike, say, unevolved beings. What's the demarcate? There are so many demarcating the features. One of which is that those people who only look for outside factors, or these are the distracting factors, I have to remove this, these are conditions, I need to get this, only look for outside. These are unwise small children. They will never be happy. Forever, they will continue to suffer. For example, I look at Alexander the Great, Julius Caesar, Genghis Khan. All these, the past, the people, the invaders. So, what is today? They must have, some of them must have extremely good hearts. That's amazing. Otherwise, those who do not really have good hearts, just invasion. So those people, if these people see what is today, what happened to the empire today, already fragmented, and people have forgotten you. If they see that what I've done is just totally stupid. Now I thought that what I've done should be a legacy left for the eons and eons. Forget about eons. Within 500, within 800, within 1,000 years, everything's gone. People even forget my name. Only the name is left, and people may be say the backbiting over me. So this is the situation. So therefore, people who think of only looking for outside to get rid of enemies and to attract the conducive factors all the time, these are unwise small children. Those people, while taking care of external, more importantly to take care of inside, these are the wise people. So taking care of inside, meaning to get rid of the self-centered attitude within us, to inculcate other cherishing within us. These are the wise people. Otherwise, you will never be happy. For example, if I keep on, say that, for example, say with the Tibet staff, oh, that staff is wrong, that staff is, I always blame out the staff. Either I have to stop working, or I'll continue with the pain, and others will have the pain, I'll have the pain, others will. So instead, you teach them how to grow. And you learn from them how to grow yourself. Not only teach, you also learn from others how to grow. So then you see that there's mutual benefit, there's a joy in both sides. These are wise people. When you try to destroy others, actually, who is speaking? Our self-centered attitude is speaking. So this is how we really need to think of, very seriously. Think of that, experiment it, and then when you succeed in this to some extent, then you will value His Holiness the Dalai Lama's approach even more. Okay. 15. If in the midst of a crowd, someone exposes your hidden faults and abuses you for them, again the same. So these are the things which can actually trigger agitation, anger with the ordinary beings. But for the evolved beings, these are the ways and means to identify our self-centered attitude within us. So therefore, these are incredibly precious the factors to help us identify our disease inside. For example, like say we go for an annual medical checkup. Why do we go for an annual medical checkup? Why do you go for men? But is it because you have some problem? No. But why do we go there? And then we pay money to the doctor. Why? So that I may have some problems. I don't know. But the doctors would be the best person. They can help me. And for the doctor doing this job to identify if you have any problem, you are paying money. So in fact, these people, like 15, if in the midst of crowds, someone, of course, somebody who dislikes you, exposes your hidden faults and abuses you for them. So that person is the one who is like a doctor identifying your self-centered attitude. Only when you have a self-centered attitude, then you react. If you don't have self-centered, it's just small child's game. It's a small child's, the provocation is nothing. It's not a provocation. It's fun to see that happening. But when you provoke, which means self-centered attitude, which makes you, self-centered makes us puppet to react. So you become like a puppet. Puppet means a child. You're not mature. You cannot take decision on your own. You are in the mercy of the self-centered attitude. You act on the basis of self-centered attitude. So this is how this person who is exposing your hidden faults and abusing you for them. So this person is like a doctor helping us to identify the self-centered attitude, which is actually making us slave of the self-centered attitude. So when you remove that, you are freed from being a slave of the self-centered attitude. So self-centered attitude cannot attract enemies anymore. So to bow to them with respect, seeing them as a spiritual friend, is a practice of Bodhisattva. What is meant by spiritual friend? Spiritual friend here meaning the teacher. What do you mean by teacher? Teacher is somebody who teaches us what is right, what is wrong, what is to be done, what is not, what is to be discarded. And then this person is actually teaching us the best of the thing. What is the best thing? Somebody who teaches us to attain your infinite happiness, total fearlessness, and infinite. This is the greatest of the teacher. And who teaches that? Somebody who helps us to identify those factors which stop us from attaining the fearlessness, infinite happiness. What is that? Self-centered attitude. So this is the greatest of the teacher. So seeing them as a spiritual friend or spiritual teacher is the practice of a bodhisattva. 16. If someone whom you cherish as dearly as your own child takes you for an enemy. Okay, now some people would say that I'm sure that many of us does the same thing. That particularly amongst your family members who you have been extremely close, you have been so nice all these many years, suddenly this person becomes your enemy. Yes, it does happen, right? Okay, how many agree with me? It does happen. Okay, here, offline, right? Okay, online. Yes, it does happen. Say when say when you're small kids, what if you say, oh, my uncle, my aunt, right? And your uncle and your dad, brothers, your uncle and your mom, brother, sister, right? And your aunt and your mom, sisters. Oh, they are so nasty, right? So, why? Because your uncle and your dad, your aunt and your mom, or they have the fight over the properties, family properties. So with this, then then you and your brother, you and your sister, you up together. Oh, that uncle, that aunt. And then gradually you become uncle, aunt. You two start fighting, right? Okay. So this is where you are one so close, you are like one person. And a situation arises that you become the deadliest of the enemies yourself. And then you become aunts and the uncles, right? Fighting over the property. So there, same. So what we would say, what oftentimes people say is that, okay, it's fine that, even if somebody who is unknown, who is my enemy, actually harms me, okay, it's fine. But my own brother is the one who I've been actually supporting, helping for all these many the years, now turning against me. That I cannot tolerate, right? Okay, so this is such a situation. 16, which reads, if someone whom you cherish as dearly as your own child takes you for an enemy, then like a mother who loves a sick child, to love that person even more is a practice of a bodhisattva. Okay, so here finally, now from the point of view of your real disease, what's the real disease? Our self-centered attitude. And who is able to identify the subtle self-centered attitude? Your regular enemy, or the somebody who you love so much, you have done so much, and finally turn against you. Which the two can identify your self-centered attitude more? Yes, the person who is very close to you otherwise, and now turning against you. So that person is even a more powerful, a more skilled teacher to help you identify your self-centered attitude in the subtlest form. So then we seeing this. Finally, what really destroys my peace of mind is my self-centered attitude. If we're able to identify that, anybody who contributes to helps by contributing you to identify this becomes extremely valuable for you. So then, like a mother who loves her sick child, to love that person even more is a practice of bodhisattva. And why the metaphor of that person as a sick child is given is, well, yes, somebody who's been so kind to you and now turning against you, of course, is a sick, mentally sick, right? A sane person will not behave like this. Only an insane person will do that, which is mentally unsound. So therefore, knowing that you'll get so much of benefit, greatest of the benefit, more than somebody giving you $100,000, is someone who helps you to attain fearlessness in infinite happiness. And what is $100,000, $10 million? What is this for? For your well-being. And greatest well-being is uncovering your Buddha nature. And who helps you uncover that Buddha nature? Somebody who helps us identify what obscures this Buddha nature. That is the deadliest of the enemies, the so-called enemies. They're not enemies, they are the best of the teachers. Then, like the mother who loves a sick child, to love that person even more is the practice of Bodhisattva. Okay, one time, I was in my personal retreat, and then my host, a husband and wife, they have this space, meaning that they huge property, And some say the local boys, girls, they come in their space, they come and then they shout. They were so happy in their place, they shout, and two of them become upset. So meanwhile, every day they were getting the teachings. We were doing some teachings on bodhicitta. And then during our break time, they would then make complaints. Okay, these local people, they come and then they shout. I said that, wow, are you sure they're shouting? Yes, they shout, they're shouting, they're disturbing. I said, are you sure? They said, yes. I said, this is amazing. This is amazing. So you are practicing bodhicitta. Bodhicitta means that you are worried about all the sentient beings. Now you don't have to go to these people. Hey, are you okay? Are you okay? I'm worried about you. Because they are telling you that I'm very happy. They're shouting, I'm very happy, I'm physically very healthy. If they're not healthy, they cannot shout. The fact that they're shouting means that they're healthy. You should be very happy. Oh, I'm glad that I don't have to really go after you to inquire your health. Right? You're well. At least one sentient being is well, happy, happy. Just feel the joy rather than feel irritated. Right? You are the present bodhicitta. May I become Buddha for the benefit of all sentient beings. So which means that you should be worrying about every sentient being. So one sentient being is telling you that don't worry about me, I'm okay. I'm very happy. I have the energy to shout. So my hosts, they were so happy to hear that. That's very true. So what do you practice bodhicitta? And then these people, they're shouting, that should make us happy. Because that they're happy. They're happy. That they have the energy. They're not sick. If they're sick, they don't have the energy to shout. So like this, somebody say, for example, say in other words, somebody creating these problems on us. So try to just reverse the situation cognitively, use your intelligence cognitively to see the other side. We can provoke the pleasant feeling rather than unpleasant feeling. This pleasant feeling will make you intention to embrace the beings. So this is a practice of bodhicitta. This is so powerful. Okay. 17. Even when someone who is your equal. Okay, now, where lies the problem? When do problems arise within us? It's when you interact with the people. Interact with the people, and the people like what? Say it's not that always people are creating problem on you. It's also your problem. If you don't have this self-centered attitude, you have no problem at all. You have no problem at all. For example, look at the Buddha Shakyamuni. So a mad elephant was deliberately sent against the Buddha. And even the mad elephant surrendered to the Buddha. Because when the self-centered attitude is gone, other cherishing manifests. Even the mad elephant can feel your compassion. The mad elephant surrendered to the Buddha. So therefore, we also have a problem. Don't always think that others. We also have a problem. The fact that we feel hurt means that we have a problem. So with this in mind, so particularly interacting with the people, that's the problem. People like what? People who are inferior to you, people who are equal to you, people who are superior to you. So with the inferior, we feel a sense of air of superiority. I'm somebody, arrogance. People of the same level, then the competition. People superior, then the jealousy. So this is what can disturb our mind. So how should they behave under such situation? These are very practical tips given by the Bodhisattva Geshe Tome Sambo. 17. Even when someone who is your equal or inferior, driven by arrogance, seeks to disparage you, and then sometimes not that you are being disparaging others, but others disparage you. Others are jealous of you. Others look down upon you. So under such situation, how should we behave? Even when someone, 17, even when someone who's your equal or inferior, driven by arrogance, seeks to disparage you or seeks to look down upon you, to place them on the crown of your head with the same respect as you would accord your guru, is the practice of Bodhisattva. Why? Why place them, accord the respect to them as like that you accord to your guru? Is because that they are the real gurus. What's a guru? Guru means a teacher. Teacher is somebody who takes you from darkness to the state of the wisdom of in the fearlessness and infinite happiness. How? By helping you identify your mistakes and letting you fix them and then attain those two goals. So the best of that person to be classified as your guru is those people who actually give you the opportunity to see in experientially, to see that self-centered is just still there within us. So these are the real gurus. So therefore, those people who really feel that, finally my self-centered attitude, this is one, and this must be removed. Anybody who helps me to identify them and remove them, this is my guru. If you feel that, then what is said here will make total sense. It's so valuable. And to place them on the crown of your head with the same respect as you would accord your guru is the practice of Bodhisattva. 18. Though gripped by acute poverty and constantly scorned by others, so when you are inferior in every respect, though gripped by the acute poverty and constantly scorned by others, stricken by terrible illness and possessed by evil spirits, you take upon yourself the negativities and suffering of every being, and never to get discouraged is the practice of a Bodhisattva. Okay, so what is taught here is that now you are in a situation where you are in the worst of your shape, in such a bad shape that you're infested with illness and mentally very disturbed, possessed by the evil spirits, and they say everything. There's nothing. Some say that I don't have anything to, for me to live for. I mean, I have nothing. I'm so hopeless. I'm not worth it to live alive. So this is at this time, right? So how do you take such situation? So some people who do not have this wisdom, who did not come in contact with these teachings, these people take the extreme step, commit suicide, and go into deep depression. But somebody who the people who come in contact with these teachings, there's a great opportunity that when I was a little boy, I would say when I was maybe like 10, 11, 12, I was so inspired by reading His Holiness's biography, the first biography which His Holiness must have written when His Holiness was in his late 20s or early 30s. The first biography, and we must read that. My Land and My People. The first biography, My Land and My People. And second one is the Freedom in Exile. The second biography is Freedom in Exile. When I was reading the first one, when I was the little boy, so what I was so inspired was that there, His Holiness mentioned that I'm so grateful, or I'm so happy, and now I feel so happy that I was born in a simple peasant family, and then later to become a king. Why? Born in that family taught me what is the life of a commoner. If I'm not born in that family, if I'm born in a very aristocratic family, everything is well taken care of from a mundane point of view. Everything well taken care of. I will not know the plight of the common people. And because of at such a young age, like age 17, 18, teenager, he introduced reformations, he introduced reforms in the Tibetan government to ease the life of the common people. Just imagine, just in his teenage, and he introduced reforms to ease the life of the common people, otherwise suffering terribly badly in those days. That's amazing. So this is what is meant by the people who are, either the naturally gifted with intelligence and smartness, or have met with these teachings. They can take this as an opportunity for their growth. So how? It says that, so all these problems, and they say these are the problems, they are the results of negative karmas. Negative karmas created by the afflictions, and afflictions driven by the self-grasping, ignorant, self-centered attitude. If I don't want these experiences in the future, I should stop negative karmas. How to stop negative karmas is by stopping the self-grasping, ignorant, the afflictions. to stop these afflictions of anger, desire, and so forth. I have to stop the masterminds of these self-grasping, either self-centered attitude. A self-centered attitude, how to stop this? By cherishing others. How to cherish others? Take the suffering, although you are suffering, but take the suffering of others on myself, so that others be freed. In the process of doing so, your negativity, your negative karmas are being washed away, purified. And then because of which, although it seems like you are taking more suffering on you, actually it's a wise way of eradicating your sufferings. Because you take suffering for others, it is challenging your self-centered attitude. Self-centered attitude is undermined. With this, the negativities associated with self-centered attitude, they are washed away. So your miseries will stop. So this is so wise approach. And superficially, when you read this on the surface level, it is in sort of very self-denial. Stricken by terrible illness and possessed by evil spirits, to take upon yourself the negatives and suffering of other beings, every being, and never to be discouraged, is the practice of Bodhisattva. It is very self-denial on the surface reading, but on deeper living, deeper reading is so profound and wise, full of wise messages. Okay, 19. Though you may be famous and prominent. Okay, now where you are more, say you are superior, or say you are in a good position, and then the arrogance can arise, potential arise. Under such situation, what should we do? 19. Though you may be famous and prominent, someone to whom others bow, though you amass riches like that of the god of wealth, to see that worldly splendors has no essence, and thus to be without arrogance, is a practice of Bodhisattva. So I'm sure that many of you already know this, that there's an expression which says that if you want to know the true personality of the person, if you want to know the true nature of that person, right? When the person is not the financially weak, or they not in a powerful position, then the person may behave as very moderate or nice, but we really don't know the real person. If you really want to know the real person, it says that give power in the person's hand, give money in the person's hand, and then see how the person behaves. That's very true. That's very true. In fact, I have seen that in my own life. I've seen that. Otherwise, someone who's very normal, very calm, good person, suddenly you get a power, that person changes overnight. Wow, can become so arrogant. And the sudden person gets wealth, again, can become very arrogant. Oh, this is one thing which is a very, some very uneasy feeling coming in you when you see such things. For example, sometimes when I was invited for some conferences, and my host would put me in some 5-star hotel and these good hotels. So when we go for the lunch or breakfast, there the people, they generally, not all, generally speaking, ordinary people means ordinary. Ordinary means that they behave, including myself. I may behave like this myself if I'm in such a situation. That when you are in a smaller hotels, people are very nice, and then you introduce yourself. When a bigger hotels, 5-star hotel, reputed 5-star hotels, here you could feel the air, the people's air, that they are somebody. They don't even look at you, They don't even look at that you are non-existent in the planet Earth. It's not that everybody does it, but this is the nature of the ordinary human beings. When you get the feeling that after wealth, then arrogance puff up. You are inflated with the arrogance. When the power comes in your hand, again the arrogance can come. Oh, this is very dangerous. So this is how we have to test ourselves. Don't just look at somebody else, or look at this person so arrogant, look at that person so arrogant. So sometimes, right? So when you are in a situation, just observe what's the difference between you. When you are without the power, without the wealth, versus when you have the power, when you have the wealth, how do you behave? And once in my monastery, there was a young monk, and he was going to become the next main, the boss of our small the group. And because my early experiences with some others, I thought that he is otherwise very gentle, so nice. Now let me see how what he is like. I want to just observe. And then he got into the power, and he was just as same as before. So humble. I was so impressed. Wow. This is your hidden quality. He was not as good in the academic studies, philosophy studies. He's not so good. But then you get the power. Everybody's in your hand, including your senior monks. You can say anything. You can, put them to the penalty for any small mistakes. But he is just so perfect, so moderate. And when when he is in little dilemma how to manage some things, he will go to the seniors and then consult, seek their advice. He never became this being inflated with arrogance. Never. I was so impressed. So this is what it is. So these are the situations that 19 again. Though you may be famous and prominent, someone to whom others bow, though you may amass riches like that of the god of wealth, don't give in to arrogance. To see the worldly splendors as no essence, and thus to be without arrogance, is a practice of Bodhisattva. To see them as from a broader picture of which the Buddha taught us, all composite things are impermanent, including your wealth, including your power. These are all impermanent. For example, like what Alexander the Great said. In a way, I don't know the full story, full import of Alexander's life story, but the last words that he uttered, it's really like something. I'm so impressed. This is a big message for all of us. Whatever is past, I don't know. But this message is a big message for all of us. He's referred to as Alexander the Great. Before he died, he called his ministers and told them, you have to follow my three instructions. When I die, you do these three things. First, that the people to carry my coffin to the graveyard should be only my doctors, not anybody else. Only my doctors should be assigned to carry my coffin there. Number one. Number two, all the way from my palace to the graveyard, the road, this way, must be spread with the wealth that I've gathered all these many years by the wealth from all the other kingdoms, snatched from other kingdoms. Whatever I've collected, all this must be spread on the way from my palace till the graveyard. Number two. Number three, when you put my body in the coffin, make sure that my two hands, they say, are exposed out of the coffin, dangling. And the ministers, they were so confused. We thought that you're going to say something very important, but why did you say these three things? These three things are nothing. Are these to make you like the legacy of your achievement? He said, no. The first thing why I said is that however great you are, Alexander the Great, however great you are, and they say there's no escape from the death. Even your doctors cannot save you. So who is carrying the coffin? Only my doctors. Even your doctors cannot save your life. However great you are prone to die. This is one message. All of us, this is what the Buddha taught. All composite things are impermanent. All what is born will die. Alexander said it. But the Buddha taught 2,500 years ago. Then, why this wealth spread or be dispersed on the road? No matter how much wealth you've gathered, how rich you are, eventually your job is it has no value You have to go to the graveyard. Look at this, all the wealth. And then finally, I cannot use this wealth. I end up into the graveyard. And finally, the two hands dangling out from the coffin. Why? To tell the world that however great you are, however wealthy you are, you cannot take anything with you at the time of death. Look at Alexander the Great. His hands dangling out of the coffin, empty hands. You have to leave empty-handed. These are incredibly great message for us. Remember these, the Buddha's teachings. All composite things are impermanent. All contaminated things are suffering nature. Where your mind is contaminated by self-grasping, ignorant, self-centered attitude, it will only take us to miseries. All contaminated things are suffering nature. So where we are in the grip of the contaminations, afflictions, karmas, contaminant karmas, driven by self-grasping, ignorant, self-centered attitude, however powerful, wealthy, celebrity, whoever you are, you're prone to miseries, you're prone to suffer. So this is reality. So think of the impermanence. Think of the misery nature of these things. So this is the message given by the Buddha and now explained by Bodhisattva Geshe 19 again. Though you may be famous and prominent, someone to whom others bow, though you amass the riches like that of the god of wealth, to see the worldly splendor has no essence, and thus to be without arrogance is the practice of a Bodhisattva. 20. If you have not pacified the enemy of your own anger, okay, now look, your real enemy is not outside, it's the enemy of the anger and the ego inside us, and which are triggered by the self-grasping ignorance and self-centered attitude. If you have not pacified the enemy of your anger, combating your opponents will only make them multiply. Therefore, with the army of loving kindness and compassion, to tame your own mind is the practice for Bodhisattva. 21. Sensual pleasures. Okay. Now the okay. Okay. Now identifying the discordant factors. For our journey towards fearlessness and infinite happiness. What the discordant factors which can hamper us in this journey. So primarily we talk about the contaminant karmas, afflictions, so forth. We see that it is, let's say that, okay, this is my house, this is my area 1, and then this is my body, this is my, actually related to my outside things and my inside things, my body, my mind, my qualities. So say mine, and then finally, why this my body, my, why? Because attachment to the self, attachment to the external possessions, attachment to the internal possessions, and finally attachment to the self. So we need to see the attachment on various levels. And it is, usually we tend to identify the attachment to the external possessions. So these are the problems. For example, money, power, and so forth. So these, corrupt the person. Corruption can happen on various levels. 1, and then related to next is related to the attachment to the components of the self, your body, your mind, your mental qualities, your bodily qualities, and so forth. Attachment to them. And then why this? For example, external things, money. Why? So that with the money I will have, when I go through sickness, then I can go to a good hospital with the money. When I'm hungry, I can have good food with the money. I can have good car. So, and these for what? So that with these, then my body, my mind will be I'll live longer, happy. Why should you live long? Because I love myself. So attachment is on various levels. The external attachment, external things, attachment, internal components of the self, and finally attachment to self. Attachment to self makes us move to the next attachment level, attachment to the components of the self, which means mind related to the self. then mind to the external world, external things. So it's the attachment on various levels. So finally, it is attachment to self. So attachment to self can be eradicated only by seeing the emptiness of the self, not otherwise. Not otherwise. For example, say, if I'm so attached to Coca-Cola, to the Coke, then when the doctor says that, hey, be careful, if you touch the Coke again, then your diabetes will kill you. I'm scared. Then I'll stay away from, I'll be detached from the Coca-Cola. Fine. So it does not require emptiness meditation. Then next with the external things, by seeing the demerits, we can be detached. But attachment to your qualities or the attributes which you require, like your say the sense powers, your body, your mind, and so forth. So these you cannot see the demerit and cut them off. And then finally, attachment to self. You cannot get rid of the self. You cannot cut the self. Only by seeing that this attachment to self is the blend of two things. Grasping at the self-grasping ignorance, blended with the imprints of self-centered attitude. These two things combined together, then manifest in the form of the attachment to self. So for this, we have to either get rid of self-grasping ignorance, or we have to get rid of the self-centered attitude. And self-centered attitude we can get rid of completely when you reach the Buddha, when you attain Buddhahood. But self-grasping ignorance we can get rid of on various levels way before attaining Buddhahood. So the easiest thing to do to get rid of attachment to self is by seeing the emptiness of the self. Okay, so these are three levels we need to remember. Then accordingly, but it doesn't mean that you have to see the emptiness of the self. Then once the attachment to self stops, attachment to the components of self will stop, attachment to the external world will stop. Of course, it is, but the reality is that until we stop the gross attachments, then the subtler ones we cannot even see the subtler ones. So with this in mind, 20, verse 20. If you have not pacified the enemy of your anger, combating outer opponents, okay, that we have already read it. The 21. Sensual pleasures, attachment to the sensual pleasures are like salt water. The more you partake of them, the more your craving will increase. Therefore, when something arouses attachment, to abandon it immediately is a practice of a bodhisattva. Okay, so the attachment I mentioned about the three levels. Then the 22. Okay, now 22 is the panacea to cut off all our afflictions, attachment, aversion, so forth. The panacea. Okay, this I'll discuss in the next class. So we come back in 1 hour from now. Yes, David La?
Yes, Geshe, 1 o'clock Israel time or 2:30 India time? 3:30
Okay.
India time, 3:30. Thank you.
Okay, so we will recite the Harsud mantra 3 times. Okay, there's one gentleman there who likes to ask question. Somebody raise a hand. Oh, okay. Right, then just thank you. Okay. Deata Om Gati Paragati Parasamgate Bodhiswatyata Om Gati Paragati Parasamgate Bodhiswatyata Om Gati Paragati Parasamgate Bodhiswaha. Okay, 3 processions together.